What do you think of when you hear the word prepare? For me, I get pictures of preparing for work, preparing food, preparing for a trip, and I was curious what comes to your mind. I'm a bit of a word nerd and I love looking up the etymology of words. So I did look up the etymology of prepare, and it is of Latin origin, and it comes from the root words pre, or what we would think is pre, so before, and parare, which means to make ready. So in short, it means to make ready before. I also like looking up the Webster's dictionary definitions, and they had a lot of fun little ones in there. So they have to make ready beforehand for some purpose, use, or activity. Okay. To put in a proper state of mind, so to prepare yourself for something that could be difficult, to work out the details of or to plan in advance, to prepare, to put together or compound, and then to put in written form, like to prepare documents, things like that. The images that you have when you think of the word prepare, were they positive images? Were they negative images? Were they neutral? It's kind of like cooking, right? Like for me, it's neutral. I'm not a huge fan of cooking, but I don't hate it. Like it's fine. It's necessary. And I like feeding my husband. I like being fed homemade food. Another way to think about being prepared or preparing is with a natural disaster. Now you're thinking, oh my gosh, Amber, you just went from cooking to a natural disaster. Well, listen, I had to get you hooked in some way. Okay, so here we go. All right. Where you live, what is the thing that is most likely to happen? So, where we live, it's a high probability we're going to get a tornado. Maybe you live in a place where you get a hurricane, an earthquake, a tsunami, all kinds of things, wildland fires, things of that sort. And you think about, okay, if that happened or when it happens, am I ready? Do I have things ready for me and my family? Think about in this moment, okay? You're in your apartment, you're in your home, you're in your house, you're at work, you're in your car. If something happened right now, do you have enough to get through 3 days? They call it the rule of threes. Okay, so you can survive 3 hours without shelter, especially if it's cold outside. Could be less because it's been pretty cold here. You can survive 3 days without water, and you can survive 3 weeks without food. I mean, you might be able to go longer, but these are just general rules, guidelines, if you will. If the electricity went down, do you have enough batteries? Do you have maybe a solar charger? Do you have a little wind up emergency radio? Do you have things that could get you through the next 3 days? Do you have enough water if the water stopped working? Do you have enough food? You see what I'm saying? Enough supplies, toilet paper, whatever it is. Okay, these are just things to think about. Now, there was a study done by Value Penguin in August 2022. I'm going to put that study up here on the screen. I'll also put links to things in the description below so you can kind of go do your own research as well. I'm a researchaholic, so I'm always looking for different sources for information. So it talks about how people from the South feel more prepared generally than Westerners, and then the Northeast and Midwest are kind of in between. It seems like Midwest is even less than the Northeast. I think living in the Midwest, we don't encounter a ton of things. Like I live in the city, and yeah, we'll have a tornado drill, a warning, things like that. But I think it's been a really long time since a tornado came roaring through this particular part of the Midwest. So it's not on everyone's top of mind all the time. I'm also going to put a study done by FEMA also. Like every year, they do a study on how many people believe they're prepared, they have good preparedness plans. However, you feel about FEMA, I don't like, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but they have really good ideas, and that is kind of what they do, is emergency preparedness. So I think their basis for information is pretty good. You can always do more, but again, we're just talking about, okay, if something happened right now, would you have enough to get through and not be freaking out and super anxiety ridden? Now, remember that being prepared and preparing doesn't mean doing it with anxiety and stress or anger, okay? Being prepared means you know what, I'm doing these little bits and pieces so that if and when something does happen, I don't have to stress out and be anxious any more than necessary, right? I know that if I get hit by a car or if I accidentally hit a car, I'm covered, my car is covered, and the person whose car I damaged or life, heaven forbid, that happens. But if it did, I feel like, okay, whew, I'm at least covered a little bit. I have something. Okay? It's the same thing that goes toward emergency preparedness or disaster preparedness. It means buying that extra pack of batteries, buying that extra, instant oatmeal packet or the instant potatoes or the water filter that you've been thinking about. Or there's so many little things that you can just buy one packet extra of or one extra thing, and you won't regret it, right? Because even if nothing happens, you're going to use those potatoes. You're going to use the oatmeal. It's not like you're not going to use those things. I think there's this misnomer, this misconception that if I buy all this stuff, isn't it going to expire before I use it? No, honey, it's called rotating. You can rotate it. You can have a whole process if you like, but you can always use it and you can give it to somebody else. If it's not something you want to eat all the time, if you're like, Amber, I don't eat like this kind of potatoes and stuff. I don't eat carbs. Okay, honey, if it's going to be expired, then go take it to a shelter or give it to somebody who needs food. Because if you need food, people aren't going to be complaining. Okay? Believe me, there's something you can do with the extra food that's about to expire. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, if you have any comments, if you have any ideas, if you have any sources of information, please put them in the comments below because I'm always looking for new sources. And if you like the sources, if you like what we talked about today, please let me know. If you have ideas, let me know. I'm here for it. Prepare peacefully, okay? Don't let it get to you. It's not time yet. And even if it is, you make better decisions when you're at peace. Okay. Bye.